Hey, it's Augie Anderson, your Brevard, Florida realtor. Welcome to Augie TV. Today we're going to talk about, are you underinsured? And today with me is Monica Santiago with Assured Partners Insurance.
Yes.
You can tell us a little bit about you. Give us the Reader Digest version of you, who you are and what you've been doing.
Yes. So again, my name is Monica Santiago. The agency is Assured Partners Insurance. So we are an independent broker located in Lake Mary, Florida. And all things insurance. So home, auto, commercial, umbrella, you name it. I'm here to assist. I've been doing this for 8 years now. I'm a licensed agent and also go out and build wonderful partnerships with Augie and many other real estate and lenders and all of that. So I'm so happy to be here today, and I hope I can share some little tidbits of knowledge on what's going on in the insurance.
That's awesome. I want to start with, like, right away, I've been dying to know this. So I'm going to start with what I want to know, if that's okay. So, we just had this ginormous hurricane hit Florida. And some of it hit in your area, kind of in Orlando, all that flooding. I saw it on TV. Fortunately, my area had very minimal issues, problems. We didn't have too much impact us. But if people in this hurricane, like Fort Myers and that part of the world, I mean, homes were demolished.
Yes.
If they were underinsured, what happens? What can you just kind of go over that?
Yes. And Augie, I have to separate two things here. So with the storm, there's two things that happened in this past storm, Ian. First is the ones that didn't have or experienced flooding, then we would look at their home insurance policy. So maybe their roof had damage, any damage to the home itself, then we would look at their property insurance policy. So that's when we look at, okay, are they fully insured to replace those items? Maybe their house completely, like Fort Myers area, if they didn't experience a flood and they just had the winds completely take their house apart, then yes, it is very important that they had proper insurance coverage. So let's say that their house in Fort Myers, I know that this is not the right pricing. Let's say their house, was insured for $200,000 and the cost to rebuild that property now after it blew away was $400,000. Then that's the responsibility now of the homeowner to make up the difference, because the insurance policy will only cover what's listed. So for those houses that they were impacted heavily, there are a lot of families, there's a lot of homeowners that are experiencing some detrimental experiences right now with insurance and figuring that out. And then the second part is flood. So let me know, I can get into that part too.
Okay, before we get into the flood, which I think is important, because fortunately where I live on a barrier island. We have places for water to go. We don't have too many flood issues, because when water has places to go, it dissipates, right? I mean, like even like our canal, the water went all the way to the top, but within days it was gone. It didn't come up to our house or anything. But let me get back to that. So how does one avoid that process? Like, okay, I don't think those people knew they were underinsured. How do you know you're underinsured?
Yes. So I will say the number one thing you want to do is look at your insurance policy with your agent at every renewal. Okay. So insurance policies do have an added coverage for the most part, that the insurance company each year will do what's called a replacement cost estimator, and they will look at the value of the property at that moment. And hi, Ruth. And they will look at the value of your property, and they'll make sure that you're within a certain percentage. So they add that in. So they try to make sure that they keep you insured properly, but your best option is to call your insurance company and have them check your coverages and value of your property to make sure that you're properly insured. At every renewal, I would suggest that, because this has impacted Florida heavily. And
so that's when you should do it. And that's why I wish Beth were here, because in HomeZada in their inventory, you actually can look at your inventory with your agent online in HomeZada and see.
Cool.
Now I don't know that they do the value part of your house, but at least your possessions, I don't know, like you might want to get, like, you would be able to get from me, your realtor, you'd be able to get a value report and get that value report, and actually it's dated and everything, and put that value report into your home inventory system, and you'd actually have that with comparables. I mean, I want to say that value, there's various ones I do. I normally do, it's 30-page report that you can put in there that's going to substantiate what your value was. And, it's like, you think people are afraid like their premium's going to go up and they don't want to pay higher insurance because it's already so high anyway?
That may be the case, or a lot of times, you don't take into consideration like holidays are coming, and you may get new furniture, you may get new jewelry, a bunch of new items. And a lot of times we're not focused, let me call my home insurance. But in those instances, you want to, because you want to add additional coverage. And yes, it may go up. That may be a little scare factor in it, but it's all about like these type of conversations to educate and let everyone know, listen, you have to talk to your insurance company. It's no longer it's escrowed. Just let it keep rolling every year. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. No, insurance needs to be talked about more so now than ever, because rates are so high, and because of such a catastrophe we had with Ian, it has opened the eyes to everyone.
Right. So you're thinking, I don't want to pay more insurance than I have to. But the opposite end of that is, you never know. And Ruth will tell you, Ruth's a friend of mine, and
hi, Ruth.
She'll tell you, I started posting catastrophic pictures before I knew Ian was coming. I don't know why. I'm getting goosebumps.
Oh, wow.
I started because it was hurricane time. And I was like, and this is kind of the season I went, you never know when a disaster is going to demolish you. And inventory your home.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden Ian hits and houses are demolished. So it actually costs you more in the long and short of it to pay that, what you were just discussing, that deficit part of it, than it does the insurance payments, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. It is. It's hard to imagine that, especially because we went so long here in Florida without such a catastrophe, that we as homeowners tend to slowly forget, right? We forget about the last hurricane. So but what Ian did outdid so many of the other hurricanes that now I think it's that everyone's eyes pretty much is open. So yes, add coverage, talk to your insurance agent. They need to be your advocate and ensure that you are properly insured when it comes to your property, all the way down to your personal items. Because remember, Ian, if it blew a house away, everything inside of that house needs to be replaced. So you want to not only replace the home itself and the structure, we need to also fill it back up with everything that was within the home.
Yeah.
That's a key component in your insurance policy. So you want to take a look and make sure you inventory your house, not just for a claim, but also to ensure that you have the right personal property coverage. You count for your couches, count every item in there to make sure, okay, is it going to cost $100,000 to replace everything in my home, or $50,000? And then you can talk to your agent and you make adjustments accordingly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's so important. And that's why I love HomeZada, and it's free. I want to remind people, that's why I'm such an advocate. It's free. I mean, their whole system is not free. I don't want to mislead anybody, but they feel so strongly. There's so many, because they're national. There's so many places in the United States that are catastrophe type areas. California with fires,
Louisiana,
Midwest with tornadoes, hurricanes. I mean, like all that kind of stuff. So I mean, you could go in and photograph your entire house upload it, everything, receipts, everything. Like I just said, you can do a value report. You can have everything. And the fact is that it's in the cloud. So if you've lost everything, you could go to anybody's computer and access it.
Yes. That's amazing.
And that's what I think, that's why I'm doing this, is to help. I've decided to make myself, I don't know why I feel like I need to do this, but something's making me do this. In addition to being like a realtor, I feel like I'm the after sale home advisor to preserve your property value. And part of that preservation is having the proper insurance, making sure you insure your home properly so that you're prepared for, the Ians that blow in.
Yeah. And I know that we were going to say for one little snippet. So the flood aspect.
Yes, I was just going to ask you about floods.
Yes. And because you're an advocate, right, to preserve your property, to preserve that home. And so what happened with Ian, which is so detrimental, is flood. A lot of the rising waters, which are not typically covered in a home insurance policy, it's considered a flooded policy. The flooding is what really demolished a lot of homes. And so when you think about, even in my area, we had little sections here in Orlando that had major flooding. We had homes 4 feet plus underwater. And so those homeowners are then responsible to take care of the property and bring it back to a condition where they can live in on their own. So if they didn't have flood insurance, so that's thousands of dollars that they're having to pull out of their pocket, or utilize FEMA and go through the application process to try to see if they can, have grants and help from FEMA. But I just thought I would share that because flood insurance is something that hit us heavily, and a lot of people didn't carry it because we weren't in a flood zone. We're just in good old Orlando. Parts of it are not in flood, many parts are, but if you didn't have insurance, you weren't covered. FEMA's now responsible to try to help.
So let me ask you, like, so you're saying, you should have maybe flood insurance even though you're not in a flood zone?
Yes. So we are advocates of that at our agency.
And so how would that basically impact your insurance payment?
So this is where flood insurance doesn't go rolled into a mortgage. If you have a mortgage, it's not rolled in if you're not required to have it. So it is paid out of pocket. But the good thing is you're not in a flood zone, it's not as expensive. So a lot of homeowners will just purchase it outright, maybe a couple $100. But in this case, it covered their whole, pretty much, whatever they had covered on that policy would bring them back up to a livable condition after Ian. So it was well worth it. But in the insurance world, we're probably going to see a lot of flood zones changed and rezoned now after Ian impacted a lot of areas that were not in a flood zone. So we'll probably see those changes in the next year or two. Where if you weren't in a flood zone, you're probably going to be in one now, especially if you did feel.
Well, since your house was floating, we decided.
Now you're in a flood zone.
I saw some of those pictures. They were horrific. And I just God bless the people that were out there helping so many victims. I mean, really, there were so many people out there giving generously of their time and their boats and even rescuing animals. It was
yes,
that's dear to my heart. Good, and so many people came together to help, and I think that is the upside of it. Let me ask you this. I'm afraid to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What's this going to do to insurance rates now with this whole Ian thing?
Okay, so we were already in a kind of in a dip with home insurance. We've had 7 insurance companies leave the state of Florida as of this year. So far, I'm thinking that this definitely is going to impact insurance companies heavily. Now, it's going to impact the ones that we're paying claims on. So the roofs and the houses that were not flooded per se, but just the ones that actually had damage. So we are going to see a lot of claims. I don't have any statistics right now because they're still rolling in, claims are still being handled, but I definitely see rates are not going to go down. We were hoping they would in the next year and a half or 2 years, but this has definitely put a ball and chain on the insurance rates for the next couple of years. So I don't foresee them lowering.
I know they're not going to go down. I wasn't even hoping for down. Are they going to go up even more?
We haven't heard anything yet, but anytime we have claims to a capacity and level like we did with Ian, more than likely we're going to lose insurance companies and or the rates are going to just continue to rise. Yeah.
I just feel like they have to do something different with insurance because it sucks the way it works now.
Yeah, I mean, legislations are still, they're still trying, the government is trying to help. The governor's been trying to help and they've passed a couple things in the last year, but none of it will impact us as quickly as we'd like it to. We want to see lower rates starting, now. But unfortunately, with the amount of losses these insurance companies are experiencing, it's just, they can't keep afloat themselves. So we're going to see a lot of Citizens Insurance, which we're already seeing, the state-run company. They're kind of taking over right now, the entire state of Florida. I mean, really, you're going to see more Citizens policies, and their rates are more competitive than some of the other companies that it makes more sense to go to Citizens and pay $1,000 less than to, go with a standard home insurance company. So see a lot of that.
What else can you tell us to help owners with being insured properly? Is there anything else I'm missing or I didn't ask about?
No, just important. Don't be scared of us on the insurance side. We actually are here to help. And if you have a good, reputable and solid relationship with your insurance broker or agent, then you shouldn't be afraid to give them a call and simply ask them, am I properly insured? And go over it with them like you would a financial advisor. This is your asset. It's one of the biggest assets that we all own to date, is our home. And so you don't want to wait for a catastrophe to hit in order to decide whether you were properly insured and if that asset was protected. So don't be scared of us. We're here to help.
So are insurance agents actually, reaching out to their clients and saying, hey, let's discuss your insurance policy?
So I can't speak for every, insurance agent. Our agency tries, we try to reach out to our clients every year, but I would say, you as the homeowner, drive the bus on your insurance. Don't wait for your agent to call them. You take that initiative when you have, the best time in your schedule, give them a call and just say, listen, put it on my calendar every year, whatever day you want, and put it on a reoccurring once a year when you're about to renew. Give it a month before your renewal and say, I'm going to call my agent, and give them a call, check your policy, also check your price. Some of us don't even know how much we're paying. If you knew how many times I asked someone, how much are you paying for your homeowner's insurance? I have no idea. It's part of my mortgage. You could be paying, overpaying. I've had some that have had the same insurance company.
Are you listening, Ruth, for when you need to buy your place?
Some have had the same policy for 10 years, and I have literally saved one of my friends $2,000. She was almost paying $5,000, and I brought her down to $2,000 and like $500 because she never touched it for 10 years. So don't be scared of us, and also don't let it just continuously escrow and not think of it, because it is your choice as a consumer on who your insurance company is and what policy you want and what coverages you want.
So it's not just you're underinsured, but don't overpay as well.
Yeah. Oh,
it's like, absolutely. So some people, they're avoiding insurance because insurance has become like the boogeyman.
Yeah.
They're like, they don't want to deal with it. It's pricey, it's complicated, and they don't want to upset the apple cart with it. Like, oh, if I talk to them about it, it might go up, it might do this, it might do that. And so they avoid it. And I feel like the more we do things like this, I feel like it's going to help people feel like, let me investigate. It's worth investigating. It's worth looking into.
Yes. And I think we should do a series on on discounts and how to lower your insurance and the ways to do it. Because let me tell you, when I get a call and they say I need to shop my insurance, I educate them. Do this, do that. These are ways we can discount it. So we're an advocate on ensuring that you're not overpaying. And even if the rates are high right now, we're still looking to find the best possible policy with the best price. We're not, just saying, hey, we're in a time where insurance is expensive, just take it. No, we still want to find you the best discount. You're a consumer. I'm a homeowner. I'm a consumer. We all want what's best for us. So
So tell me 3 things that could reduce your insurance.
Yeah. So wind mitigation inspection, which a lot of people don't realize. If you have a newer roof, it's key to make sure that your insurance agent knows you have a new roof and also sees that wind mitigation inspection, because that could be a couple $100 that discounts off of your policy, give or take. Let's see, well, that's automatic. So let's keep thinking here. Okay, you're the location. If you're in a gated community, okay. If you're in a gated community or a man-gated community, let us know. If you have a alarm system, so if it's a monitored ADT, now Ring has that monitored option. If you have an alarm system, let your insurance company know. These are ways that you can decrease your insurance rate. I think that's the main 3 that I can think of, unless it's a new construction home.
You gave me 3. I only have 3.
I feel like I have a longer list, but those are the 3 main ones that I can think of right now.
Well, I am going to invite you to do a guest blog post for me on how you can improve your insurance. And if you want to do it in a video format or however you want, and then I can put it out there and people have it in writing as well at your leisure whenever I know you're a very busy gal, and I really appreciate
I am never too busy
that you take the time to do this, because I feel like I don't see a lot of stuff like this. I don't know if people are doing it, but I don't know. I just don't feel like I see a lot of people talking about this, and I just decided, I know insurance becomes a boogaboo with selling the house. That's why I do a move-in certified program. I make sure that my seller is going to pass the 4-point, so I don't have problems with contract time. I have that all done almost, but at the time I list the property.
We love you in the insurance world, okay? Yes, that's what we want. We want you to do those proactive things beforehand, because a lot of listings come on the market and then the buyers are scrambling because they can't find proper insurance due to the roof age, polybutylene plumbing, aluminum wire, those little things within the house that we as consumers are not educated on. We just know, hey, I like the house. It's aesthetically pleasing, has the 2 bathrooms that I want.
Yeah.
They don't know plumbing could be an issue or any of those other items. They just follow the lead of the realtor, but we're here to educate and help. Advocacy, that's huge.
My houses, they know, I feel like it's helping buyers as well as sellers. And I think I'm going to be a trendsetter with this.
Yes.
Nobody really knows how I'm doing it. Sorry, I'm not going to tell how, but it is helping. And listen, I really appreciate your time. And this has been so informative. I want us to do it again. You'll have to tell me what we need to help people educate. Thank you again, Monica Santiago with Assured Partners Insurance. I'm Augie Anderson, your Brevard, Florida realtor. Thanks for tuning in with this episode of Augie TV. We'll be seeing you on the web soon.
Yay.